And now it's time to introduce our very special guest today who will be sharing his message. This is my co-director, co-leader of the center. His name, of course, all of you know, is Reverend Ken Searle. And his message today is entitled, Love Without Conditions. And I know that he has a very powerful, delightful, and fun message for us, and I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. So let's give him a rowdy welcome.
That was pretty rowdy. Yeah. It is wonderful to be here. How's that? There we go. We just have to make sure that we massage this. I need a little help. You can pick this up very quickly. How about with me? I am love.
I am love.
Deeper.
I am love.
Deeper.
I am love.
Thank you. I
am love.
Somehow when I was out walking, it came up. I don't know if it was the dogs who suggested that, but the next morning, instead of doing my usual meditation of being quiet, I decided I would get into the mantra, I am love. So I had my headphones on. Whoa, did that ever set me up for the day? You might just try it, something simple. Occasionally we might feel a little bit of something. Ooh, what was that about? I am love. I am love. Just a little tip. Anyway, I'm delighted to be here. Delighted to offer the talk. How can you lose on a talk of love? The title of my talk is, as you can see, Love Without Conditions. And interchangeable with that is the term unconditional love. And where we've got loving without conditions, which is kind of a verb. And then we've got unconditional love, which is kind of a noun. And that covers the whole thing, and guess what? Love is the whole thing. It's the action, it's the thing that's going on right now. There's a growing movement of people who are striving to live fully and freely, and we are among that group. Science of Mind teaches us that through the power of our mind, we are continually creating our life's conditions. We are always making use of this innate creative power right here, whether consciously or unconsciously. The thoughts and the attitudes and the beliefs we hold are shaping our tomorrows. I know you'll have a beautiful day tomorrow. The desire for a richer life has always been at the heart of our human striving. And there is something within each of us, in our innermost being, that knows that greater possibilities are available for every one of us. And I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 59, 70, 106, 107. I'm looking through the form and I'm seeing inner presence of God. And I'm seeing your being here as growing that. So, I am blessing each of you in claiming the gift of love, of your spiritual magnificence. That's what we're about here, knowing the truth. And that's the truth. Some of us are moving in to embrace that truth. Some of us are on a little bit of a longer journey. That's the truth. To embrace that beautiful center of you and allow that magnificence to radiate. Now, the process of how I came to do this talk, now, we had talked, love was the issue, but there's lots of ways we can go in talking about love. So, very briefly, I'm just going to tell you, it kind of combined heart and gut, or I should say more correctly, divine intervention. Anybody know what gut feels like? Okay, you follow your gut, right? Anyway, I'm a minister now, so I'm supposed to say it's divine intervention, but that's okay. So about 3 weeks ago, I was watching some, my wife, she's kind of got the control on the controller and things like that, watching this, and her mother as well. And so we were watching ice skating, figure skating. And we had, it was one of the top competitions, so we had top skaters. And so there was a sort of an anticipation that this is going to be pretty good. Now I'm a little bit older, and I remember watching the skating some time ago, and we used to have scores of 5.7, 5.8, maybe even a 6, do you remember that? And I'm kind of out of it, I know that they redid that. But still, I was sitting kind of watching, and I was in the consciousness of kind of seeing, and I'm not an expert on this, but you can kind of see perfection. And so as they're skating and as they're dancing on the ice, there's kind of a feeling about, whoa, this is getting close to what we might call perfection. And then it came to me. It was kind of a recollection from my practitioner studies about 4 or 5 years ago. Memory works well at times. 4 or 5 years ago. How's your memory? Yeah, pretty good. Just don't ask me what I ate for lunch yesterday. But anyway, I knew that in a lesson there, it was somewhere in the 20s, I knew that there was a discussion about perfection. And Spirit obviously was prompting me to kind of go and remember what that other issue was. We had the idea about me watching and anticipating perfection on ice, the achievement, the performance, all of that good stuff. But there was something else, and I had a sneaking hunch, but then I decided, oh, I'm a minister, I can't have sneaking hunches. So anyway, I decided I would look, and lo and behold, enthusiastically, I went to my binders down there, and I found the material. Now, what did the material say? It was talking about perfection. And it was talking in a different way. It was talking about love, because there is really no separation. And I want to just talk about an experience to combine that experience of remembering a different take on it. It was not physical perfection, it was metaphysical perfection that I was embracing. And I will go into that. I also, kind of at the same time, this idea came to me about real love. Real love, we could call it authentic love, we could call it original love, we could call it divine love. And how is that different? Is that the same as love without conditions? Is that the same as conditional love? And so this was kind of where the idea came from about talking about today. A couple of years ago, I had gone to a Seymour. Does anybody remember what a Seymour? Yeah, not too many. Anyway, it was when the summer conference is with the Center for Spiritual Living. And for 60-odd years, they went to this place which is near Monterey. It's near the golf courses, Pebble Beach and all that stuff. It's right there. And I went there. And again, I was called to go to this workshop. It was on real love. Real love. What does that mean? But anyway, I went, and it was magnificent. And I'm just going to go there. So I had this experience with the skating, and that kind of piqued my interest. And it really got me pointing to the issue of perfection, and with that same issue, that issue of love, which is all together. Here's what these folks presented as real love. they described love as being of dual nature. They called authentic, original, divine love real love, and they called something else love imitation love. And real love is seen as the inner stuff, the deep, the perfect love that's within each of us, where that inner presence is. And it doesn't look for return, it simply is about giving. And it just flows into us, and we just radiate it out like giving it to the kids. And they kind of call it true altruism, which is loving without any sense of having to get anything back. You just do it. At the same time, we're talking about mother's love, father's love, and love without conditions. That's what that is. And they saw that as unconditional caring about the happiness of another person without any thought for what might be gotten for oneself. There was no sort of, well, I wonder what's going to go on. Now, imitation love, and this is the thing that really got me thinking. Imitation love is anything that may be used as a substitute for real love. Human beings, we have a wide array of choices, and we can find pleasure and satisfaction in different places, and they're not all at the highest level. So through no fault of our own, many of us may not have either received or given much real love now, or at some time ago. And as a result of that, we may experience a large void in our lives. There's something missing. It's that connection to beauty. It's that connection to authenticity. It's that essence of love. So this can show up when we don't have enough real love and we can experience significant emptiness. We tend to fill that emptiness with combinations of imitation love. And they can be praise, power, pleasure, and safety. Those are the major issues. Details that come up, and you might pick up on a couple of these. These are imitation love. This is kind of getting love, receiving love from others. And we're in a little bit of a different space here than love without conditions. Anger, opposition, resistance, bragging, modifying what we say to please another, insisting on being right, blaming others for our unhappiness, talking on and on to get and keep someone's attention, leaving mentally or physically when there's conflict or tension, escaping, or escaping into addictions or other activities. Imitation love may provide temporary relief and allow us to get by, but we may be kept from looking for real love that will eliminate our fear of the pain of not being authentically loved. And that's where our work here comes from. Every one of you is awakening. You're on your journey. And you are not unconscious to your behavior. Why am I doing that? What was that all about? Have you ever done that? That didn't go well. What was the story there? So we're in the point now of recognition or identifying this. That wasn't quite right. I'm doing that. I'm getting, strokes that way, but that doesn't feel good anymore. It's not useful to me anymore. This is where we're in. We're in the transition from kind of imitation love to real love. Now, I want to bring up conditional love, maybe as a little bit of a descriptor for you. And we've already talked a little bit. How many of you know who Miss P is? Miss P. Well, put your hands way up there. Okay, okay. Now, the others of you, you've got to watch more TV. I mean, you really do. No, just joke. Now, Miss P, I'm not going to tell you quite yet. You might have heard. It appears that the world seems to have gone gaga over Miss P. The Globe and Mail, the newspaper, ran the headline on Thursday, just last week. Boy, it's Beauty and the Beagle, right? And Canadians apparently are beaming after Dog's Westminster win. Miss P is a 4-year-old beagle, female beagle, and she won this Westminster Kennel Club Best of Show. Whoa, and this is a big deal. The mayor of Enderby, oh, I didn't tell you. I don't know if Miss P was born there, but Enderby, BC, you know, just along the way there, hey, that's where she apparently belongs. And so the mayor thought, well, maybe they were going to have to call Enderby Beagle. Beagle. It's got kind of a nice ring, don't you think? Anyway, maybe not. This was a stunning win. This was at the level, I'm not a gambler, what would you say odds of 15 to 1 might be? Is that a long shot? Las Vegas. And hey, Rael, who's our wingman, he's down in that area. I wonder if he did any, no, I won't go there. 15 to 1 odds, that's what the bookies said. And she won it. Now, it's become the topic of media attention and glamour in the Big Apple and beyond. This little dog was right up at the top of the Empire State Building, and she went to an exotic, really a ritzy, aristocratic restaurant, and they chopped up filet mignon, and she wolfed it down beautifully. Anyway, you know, the media is kind of looking, would you believe it? They're looking for a story, and there's where it was. So this win by a non-American dog has drawn extra attention to this 139-year-old event. Canadians don't win this very often. Remember, we're still talking about love. How much love is this little doggy getting? Whoa! For many of us rather passive observers, we have been encouraged to look up the criteria. That's me. I'm kind of out of criteria. So anyway, just to see what this is all about. Little cutie dog here, but I want to go to kind of, okay, they're all looking good. For each breed, did you know this? Each breed, there exists a standard, which is a written description of the ideal specimen of that breed, generally relating form to function. The original function that the dog was bred to perform. Now, I know something, and they do all sorts of things, breeding and one thing another, and I don't know if that beagle line from 200 years ago was the same one we're seeing. But anyway, that's what the story says, so I'm going to go with that, right? So anyway, they're being judged within their breed, and then the top of that breed goes against, I think there were 7 dogs. Most standards describe general appearance, movement, temperament, height and weight, coat, colors, eye color and shape, ear shape and placement, feet, tail, kitchen sink, no, that's not there, and more. I put down here and more. I think I was running out of time. The basic purpose, do you know what the basic purpose of this big extravaganza is? It's perfection, and it's about breeding. Would you believe it? And my wife said last night, money, no, it's bigger than that. It's got to be feeling, no, sorry, but it's about breeding, It's about who's the top, and ultimately it's about breeding, money, stud fees, all this sort of stuff. So that's what they want it tightly controlled. It's people, I mean, it can be their lives. This is now, would this be love without conditions? Well, maybe, but we're dealing with external sort of stuff. We're in love with that outer perfection. And so this is why I want to make this significant, is that we human beings, we take stuff in visually, don't we? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just us. And we play it for all that we can get sometimes. And each of us probably has a little spot that we go, whoa, I love that car, I love that, I want to go to that beach, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to add to, and thank you, Ralph, for leading into that. That was a perfect segue. Did we say $10? Was that it? But there's even a video out. Did you know that? I don't know about caps, but a video. Canadian Beagle named Miss P knows a thing or two about perfection. That's what the headline, that's what the video is all about. Now, so, the saga of Miss P's victory serves, and I hesitate to use this, serves a perfect example of the circumstance of physical perfection, which includes achievement, performance, and appearance. Think of the myriad of circumstances in which there's a judgment involved. And maybe it's gymnastics, maybe it's ballet, maybe it's something, but can you remember, how many of you can remember with scores going up, you're watching and somebody gets a perfect 10 or a perfect 6, oh, and the fans just love it. This is the height of perfection for that movement, that behavior, whatever that action is. Whether it's Miss P, skater Patrick Chan, golfer Mike Weir, love, I'm sorry, appears somewhat fleeting. This is not eternal. This is not authentic. This is not original. This is part of the human experience. Yes, this is all good. We know that. God is all good. But this is kind of fleeting, and it's based on the issue about the external stuff about us. In my description of Miss P and the Beagle, here's my own, the Beagle Mania. You know what? I thought it was funny. That seems to be going on. I need to declare that these events, and I needed to state this, I was feeling as though I was portraying it in a bad way, and it's not. It's just about us. And there's thousands and millions of people who are involved in all sorts of things that I don't know anything about, and they think it's fantastic. Hey, we get to do that. And here it is. These are simply the manifestation of ideas and form the fabric of humankind's expansion in expression and exploration of new possibilities. So this element about reading, they're just looking, they want to get closer and closer, Ralph, I think that was 10. But anyway, they're closer and closer to that perfection. Now we get to kind of the meat. Talked about perfection on the physical side of it. Now I want to talk about the metaphysical. Anybody know what meta means? Beyond or above. So now we're talking about inward stuff, not the outward stuff. Spiritual wisdom teacher cautioned not to judge by appearances. Do anybody remember that? And again, this is what he was talking about, and he was talking about the bigger idea. And he referred to perfection, and I love this stuff. This is what really attracted me. In what can be translated into English as, this is a big deal, metaphysical perfection. Jesus stated it, and we affirm it at Science of Mind. It says, inclusive of all things. I'm going to say that again. I'm getting bumps. Inclusive of all things. Nobody gets left out. You may not be the most beautiful, you may not be the most gifted athlete. Maybe you've not got a trophy or whatever. People haven't set that aside. Nobody gets left out. You look around. Everybody here, whether you know it or not, you got your 3 or 4 scoops, whatever God decided, everybody got the gift of love. Full, complete, unstinted. I love that word. Unstinted. And I love this. And that's what that little story about me watching ice skating was. And that's why the issue about love and perfection are tied so beautifully together. That's what Spirit wanted me to say to you. To first look it up, to check on it, because it made an impression with me 5 years ago. But I didn't really look into it that well. So, there's a fellow here named Dr. Holmes. Do we know Dr. Holmes? Yeah. Okay. Metaphysical performance is not a performance standard, such as being good, doing good, all those sorts of things. Presenting an unblemished appearance. Such a standard, rooted in criteria, that checklist of standard, embodies exclusion, the E word, exclusion, leaving large numbers of people throughout the globe out. Science of mind treatments are based on the notion of wholeness, perfect God, perfect man, perfect being, perfection. Love without condition. You don't have to earn it. You're here, you are it. Love is, you are love inside. Everybody. You don't have to write the exam. When I read that, I said, oh, I still get these ahas. Oh, that's beautiful. It was almost like a relief. Oh, yeah. It's an affirmation. It simply says for every one of us, the issue about worthiness, self-esteem that kind of hounds over us. Not an issue. Not an issue at the eternal, essential level, but my goodness, our ego sure runs with that little puppy. Oh, I shouldn't say puppy, because that'll get to beaglemania again. But this is the big deal. So, let me get back to here, because I've got a beautiful little point here. The embodiment of love without condition, where everyone is recognized as being essentially perfect in all regards. Mark Nepo quotes a fellow in the book of Awakening in a selection. This is kind of interesting, called When Feeling Stuck. And the poem goes like this. I love this. The same stream of life that runs through the world runs through my veins. Your veins. There is only one flow. And you're it. And I'm it. We're it. It's flowing. Whatever is out there, whatever is flowing, it's flowing through every one of us. And we don't have to get all poofed up before the show or whatever. It's there. And this journey is simply about us claiming our spiritual magnificence. It's waking up increasingly. You're on your journey. I'm hoping that I add a little bit of support here. This is what this center is about, to support people. Anyway, Mark Nepo, and I love this, he explains that we humans, this may be a surprise to you, tend to be so achievement-oriented that we often surge right by the true value of relating to what's before us, because we think that accomplishing things will complete us, because we're feeling incomplete, when it is experiencing life that will complete us. So that ego thing, that love with conditions, that's empty. That's not going to fill us up. Sorry. And it's the work that you are doing, the inward work, that will fill us up. He continues saying, yes, if we can outlast the urge to judge everything we encounter, a miracle starts to surround us in which painting, music, poetry, running water, flowers, wind through trees, open vistas, all touch and draw out their counterpart that lives quietly within us. So we tend to rush, don't we? We tend to drive by, oh yeah, I'm going to stop there one, no, we're late, let's get going. And we tend to, that's the stuff that's really going to nourish us. This other stuff just kind of fills us in. I'm sure many of you are beyond me in terms of resisting the lure of, all the hard stuff to do. I don't have time to do that. Anyway, so I affirm that it is right to take us where we are in this integrated life that we are experiencing, whatever the activity may be. Westminster Kennel Show, great. Folks get beautiful feelings out of it, relationships and all that good stuff. Our human lives are spent typically in relationship with others, and the relationships characterizing marriage, committed partnerships, and parenting are as intimate as any. With that in mind, I offer the following affirmations which I believe can assist us in striving to live fully and freely in the appropriate balance between conditional and unconditional love. Love with conditions, love without conditions. There's 6 little points here. I talk to my partner about issues as they appear. I seek free communication and keep no inappropriate secrets. Would you say that that's at the outer level, or are we talking about an inner connection? I love my partner deeply, without conditions. I practice forgiveness and seek forgiveness. As part of my daily spiritual practice, I ask the question, how can I love you today in thought, word, and deed? I pray daily with my partner or by myself to stay close. I work at maintaining emotional, physical, and spiritual connection. I keep the chemistry with my partner alive. I commit myself to keeping the relationship alive. I give my partner the security of my unwavering love. I take grace, patience, affirmations, encouragement, respect, and time to allow that to happen. What I'm trying to do is to support loving my partner without conditions. And so we come to the end of our journey today and the beginning of your future. I encourage each of you to commit to the intention of growing in faith in the invisible, that which you can't see. Claim the gift of love of your spiritual magnificence. Connect with it. Unify with it. Open up more widely than before to receive the gift of God. Receive and radiate love without condition. Meditate, treat, envision, nourish your loving relationships, and enjoy life because we're supposed to. Thank you. Bless you.